Hey guys, it's Jen over at worldofjencraft.com, and this is our project for today. I actually made this a couple weeks ago when I received my Stampin Blends to play with, and I was just waiting for the perfect time to introduce this to you, and today is perfect because Stampin Up has released the Stampin Blends for everyone to purchase. I've really enjoyed playing around with them, and I can't wait to show you how cool they are if you have not played around with alcohol markers before. Now, I'm going to be, straight up with you and honest with you, as I always am. I'm not the best colorer in the world. And so I did very minimal shading, and I actually only used one of the two shades that come in the little in the colors. But I wanted to show you how easy they are, and you don't have to be an expert with alcohol markers to enjoy the effects of how wonderful these color in. So this was, I'll show you quick, this was another card that I made, that my Coffee and a Card made this month. Again, just using basic, simple coloring in with this. And if this looks familiar too, if you've seen it in the holiday catalog, I borrowed this idea with the cups and the colors and everything on top of this little shelf directly from the catalog, but put my own little twist on it on the card. So let's get started with the supplies on this, and then I'll show you what I did and how I colored it in. The Old Olive 1/8 of an inch ribbon is what I used, along with the Layering Squares framelits and the Stitched Shapes framelits. The Hug in a Mug stamp set has been a lot of fun to play with. Lots of little stuff that you can add on to these coffee cups. So that was super fun to play with. The Tuxedo Black Memento ink is best for using the alcohol markers with. And then I used the Early Espresso stamp pad to stamp my sentiment in it. The alcohol markers that I use, the Stampin Blends, I will go over all of the colors as I am coloring them, but this is what they are, and I'll list it out on here on the video as well. And I used a little bit of Wink of Stella. I haven't used it in a while, so I thought I would bring it back out. Yay! So here is the supplies that you will need if you would like to recreate this card. And if you go over to my website, worldofjencraft.com, leave a comment on this post. I will draw in the next couple days for someone to receive a kit to be able to make the card as well. You won't receive the stamping on it. You'll have to use your own stamps, or hey, even better, if you already have the Hug in a Mug stamp set and the blendables, you'll be able to make it as well. So let's get started. I think I'm going to go ahead and just stamp out our images. Yeah, I need to go over the supplies that I used, don't I? So scratch that, and I'll just do this quickly. So Whisper White cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, and then a 3 by 5.5, and you're going to need 3 1 5/8 inch stitched squares. Early Espresso is 3 1/4 by 5.5, and a 1 3/4 inch scalloped square. Old Olive cardstock is a 1 3/4 inch scalloped square, and Pool Party is also a 1 3/4 inch scalloped square. And then last but not least, our Coffee Break DSP is 4 1/4 by 5.5. So now we can go ahead and we can start our stamping. Let me grab out my ink, and there are quite a few steps in each of these little coffee cups, but my goodness, they turn out so stinking adorable. So I'm going to go ahead and start and stamp this one first. And this is nothing special, so I'm going to throw it down here to make sure it's in the... I'm just going to kind of put this down towards the bottom of my square. And then we're going to add this little steam from our hot coffee or cocoa or tea or whatever we have in here. And there's that. And then last but not least, we're going to use this cute little little X's, or I don't know what it's called. I'm having a hard time seeing over. Hopefully I'll place this in here right. Ah, that works. Okay, so coffee cup number 1 done. excuse me, my allergies are still kind of kicking my behind lately. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move on to this cup. And again, I'm going to keep this down towards the bottom of my square. And that's just going to get stamped on here. And then we're going to take our little marshmallows and we're going to stamp those on top here. Just like so. And then this one has a little tiny dotted border that goes across. So I'm going to throw that down here. Yeah, that's a little off, but that's okay. It'll still work. And then my larger coffee cup, instead of stamping it directly on here, I went ahead and stamped it on a scrap piece of paper. And then after I was done coloring it, I cut it out. So we're just going to stamp that there. And we're going to put our whipped cream on top. Very carefully without me getting my head in the way. So I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. Make sure I get this on here right. Hopefully my head didn't get in the picture. And then for this one, I just use this little chevron or this little zigzag. And that's going to go up and through here. So I am going to set that aside and I'm going to bring back this one. And I used, so here we have Pool Party, and there's a dark and a light, and you can purchase just one by itself for $4.50 or both of them for $9. For this particular card, I did not use the lighter color. I did only use just one color, so I used the darker one. And I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of color along here, along the edge, but being careful not to get too close to the edge. And I'm just going in a little circular motion. And then I'm going to kind of come down here and go over that again. And that's just going to kind of darken it up a little bit. And then I'm going to come in here in the center and just fill that in. And so you don't want to lay a ton of ink down. But then that's kind of what you get. So you'll have a little bit lighter in the center and then the rest around it's going to kind of give a little shadowy effect. But, you know, like I said, no special coloring in. I just kind of did that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same for this cup. So I just kind of went around the edges in my circular motion, being careful not to get too close to the edge, because if you do and you lay down too much of the ink, it will end up kind of bleeding through. So you want to be careful not to lay too much down. And I'm not really pressing very hard on the edge of my marker. So, and if you want a little bit more of that. So that's it. Probably could have been better, but you know, I kind of left that inner part a little bit lighter just for a little shading. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same with my final cup. And this one I'm going to use the bronze. So your old olive is going to be your dark and your light. And again, I just used the dark on this one. And the bronze comes by itself. It's just one. So let's see if I get that. I like the brush tip the best, and so I'm just going to go ahead and do the same with this. Alright, so there you go. Again, super simple. I just love how smoothly it colors on. Now I am going to take this one here is the light crumb cake. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm very, very, very lightly going to just kind of come along the edge here on the inside. And I don't know if the shading is right, but I'm just going to kind of come along in here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my whipped cream. I'm just going to bring in a little bit of shading here along these edges. And then maybe just a little bit kind of down here at the bottom. And then what I'm going to do after that is they have this color lifter So I'm going to come back with my color lifter, and I'm just going to basically just kind of go over it a little bit. And what that is going to do is it's going to lift off some of that color and just leave it kind of shaded, so you won't get it as dark as you initially put it on there. So, and that'll kind of, once it soaks in, then you'll be able to kind of see. I don't know if you can see that or not, and I'm going the wrong way. But so that just kind of gives a nice shadow effect, I guess, if you will, or shading. And I'm going to do the same thing with both of the other cups, just with my light crumb cake. And I'm going to come in here and give some definition into my marshmallows. And then I even, on this one, kind of came underneath of it a little bit just to give some shadowing underneath of it. And again, bring in my color lifter, I'm going to do the same thing. Alright, now that all of that is done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut out my coffee cup here with just my scissors. Alright, and I'm going to pop this up on to this square here. Just use a couple here to give it a little bit more dimension. That's just going to go right about here-ish. And then let's assemble the rest of our card now that we have all of our coloring done. So this is just going to go and cover our whole entire card front. Just don't want any of that white poking through. So just like that. And then our early espresso is going to go in the center. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to slam it down. Just kind of throw it wherever it lands, huh? So that's going to go like that. And then our Whisper White, which I think I used for my, I did. So hold on a second. I'm stealing from this and I'll replace it. I think I used this to stamp on my, my thing, my little coffee cup. Grabbed the wrong scrap. All right, so that's just gonna go here, and then I think actually I'm not gonna do that yet because I want to stick my sentiment. How am I gonna do this? I got carried away with myself. I was so excited to be done with my coloring. I'm going to stick our, see if I can guesstimate. This is going to go about 1 inch up from the bottom. So I'm going to, let's see, does that work? Ah, almost perfect, maybe a little high. I stick it down just a little bit more. Maybe like that, let's see. So ideally what you're going to do is you're going to put all of these on first and then put your ribbon on. But we're going to have to kind of make do with it like this. So let's see if we can make this look right. That's going to come about here. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more adhesive over that and over here, just to make sure that that sticks down. Get rid of this extra bulk under here. Okay. So then I'm just going to sit this here in the center. And then all of our little white squares are going to go on top of these. So our green one, where did I put my card? Green is going to go on the green square. Am I out of, oh, I'm out of the picture, sorry. And then that's just going to go flat onto our card, and you're going to have, it's going to go right here at the very corner, so you might have maybe 1/8 of an inch on either edge, and that was the only way I could get all 3 of these to fit on here. So then we're going to do the same with this one. This is going to go on our pool party cardstock. And it's going to go all the way over on the other corner. And, oh, not quite out of the corner. Video, that's what I'm trying to say. So that's going to go here. Again, with just about 1/8 of an inch on either side. And then this one is going to go on top of our early espresso. And then we're going to pop our early espresso up. So both the coffee cup and the square are going to be popped up for dimension on this card. And this one is just going to go in the center, making sure your edges are even, like that. And then how about we stamp our sentiment on with the early espresso down in the corner. And then the last thing we'll do is, let's see, let's get this down here. And then we're going to tie a bow with our ribbon. Someone was saying the other day that I always make the most perfect bows, and I don't know. They're like, well, how, you know, how do you do it? I don't know how I do it. I guess I just kind of play with the ribbon until it does what I want it to do. I don't know if there's an actual, you know, trick or knack. And I think sometimes it depends on the ribbon too. Each ribbon is, you know, you work a little bit differently with the ribbons depending on how thick or how thin they are, or you know, the texture of the ribbon. But so I think this is it. And then I just, you know, play with it until I get that look. And then I always poof out my edges. Not that that matters when you send it, because, you know, when you send it in the card, it's just gonna flatten out anyways. But I guess at least for display purposes, it's puffy. All right, and then I'm going to throw this on a little glue dot, if I can find where I threw it from my last. There it is. That's just going to go on a little glue dot, and then I'm stuck it just over here in between these two. I think I'm going to put another little glue dot underneath of here just to hold that in place. So, just like that. And I think this looks a little bit, oh, maybe not. Maybe I should leave it, but I'm not going to because it feels like it's there. I'm going to cut maybe a whole 1/16 of an inch off. Okay, so this is it. Oh, it's not it. This video is taking a lot longer than I had anticipated. So I'll fast forward through this, but I did use Wink of Stella, and I just used it here on the steam, and I used it here and then in this. So I'll fast forward as I do this. All right, I just think that that adds, you see that? Can you see the sparkle? I don't know if you can see it as well. There it is. I don't know. I like the way it looks. All right, guys, so here it is. This is our card. I thought it turned out pretty sweet. So that's it. Nothing super special with the coloring. Hopefully I'll come back and have, you know, some words of wisdom on how to shade properly and how to, you know, blend in that. But simple. Just keep it simple and enjoy how smooth they color on. There will be dimensions and a supply list on my website, worldofgencraft.com. So head on over and check it out if you so wish. Thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye.